Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Warrior Woman Wednesday on Fine Lines with Lauren. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in and supporting the first couple of episodes. I appreciate your continued support and hope to bring you more and more WWWs. Today, I'm flying solo. It's just me today. I figured it was about time I started to tell a little bit of my story and what got me to this whole Warrior Woman Wednesday concept. And in a nutshell, and I don't want to make it sound so light and airy, but it was basically postpartum depression, to be completely honest. I definitely was struggling with it after the birth of my second son this past year. He'll be a year old in February. So it's always such a major mark moment to make it through that first year as a parent. But it was tough this time. Definitely, not that it was easy the first time, but just a lot of unexpected things the second time around that just made it a little tougher for me personally. So, of course, I sought the help and opinions of some medical professionals. I struggle with chronic migraines and insomnia, and they were both made much worse after the birth of my second child. And so, I was seeing a neurologist, trying to get some answers, trying to see what I could do from a medical perspective, but I'm also pretty granola and into my voodoo magic essential oils and all kinds of health and wellness herbs and things like that. So I'm basically willing to try anything if it will give me the outcome that I want without being overly toxic to my system or causing some kind of crazy side effects. So seeing the neurologist, it was definitely beneficial, but I still wasn't getting the results or the fulfillment that I wanted. And so lo and behold, one day I was listening to my favorite radio station. Now, mind you, I work from home. And again, I do have 2 kids. And so I'm a super social person, and working from home and now having 2 kids, I was just starting to feel like completely closed in. When you're an extrovert and you can't get out and, communicate with other adults, especially, you kind of start to feel like a caged bird. And I'm sure that was contributing to my situation. So I was listening again to my favorite morning show, Elvis Duran and the Morning Show, and I love them because it's kind of just like random conversation coupled with, world news and serious stuff and fun stuff, and it's just everything. And that's why I like them, because while I'm working from home, I feel like, hey, I'm kind of in the room with these people, and they help me get through the day and also educate me a little bit and make me laugh. And this one day in particular, he started talking about a podcast that was going to be launching by this guy named Dan Mason. And it was called Life Amplified. And I decided, I'm definitely going to check that out. I'm going to listen to that because I'm a podcast girl. And I wanted to see what it was all about. So I listened to the very first episode, which had Dan and a guy named Mastin Kipp on. Now, I will also tell you that I am a chronic purchaser of self-help books that really don't help me. But I was just, in a space where I was like, all right, I'll read these self-help books and I'll see. But nothing was really clicking with me. But this particular podcast with these 2 guys and talking about Mastin Kipp's book, this book called Claim Your Power, there was something about his delivery that was just different. And I felt like I related to what his message was. And so I bit the bullet and bought myself yet another self-help book. Only this time, I just had this feeling that this was going to be the one, right? And this one was going to be the one that was going to, give me the answers that I was searching for. And so I got the book, and what I loved about it is it was kind of a daily journal. So it's not something you sit down and read all at once. You do little by little, day by day. So that was awesome too, right? Because I'm like, when am I going to have time? And so doing just a little bit a day was much easier for me, much more relatable for me. And so as I started getting into the book and really paying attention and following the steps and doing, the journaling, but let me tell you, the journaling in this book was also really different because it, instead of looking for outside sources or, the whole birds and butterflies, find your way type of thing, it was just a little bit more raw, a little bit more real, and put me in a different space or way of thinking about what was really going on. Why was I really feeling this way? What were the things happening in my life? And it really has you reflect on your past a lot, which is another thing that I sort of needed to conquer to kind of get through what I was experiencing. And so as I continued on with this book, I started trying to put it into action, right? So paying attention to things that were happening around me that I was closed off to before, not wanting to pay attention to. Only now I was starting to pay attention to them. In fact, the name of my website, my Facebook page, The Fine Lines with Lauren, came from the most random situation. I was washing my face and I swore that this washcloth that I use all the time said fine lines when it actually said fine linens. And it just sort of hit me in that moment that that's what I wanted for the name. It encompassed all the things that I wanted my page to sort of be about or eventually grow to be. And so I picked that. And just little by little doing things that I felt like, this is right, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to wait until I have the perfect product or the perfect idea. And I was like, I'm going to reach out to this guy. I'm going to reach out to this guy, Dan Mason, and I'm going to get in touch with him. And I want to, work with him and do things with him. And he is a life coach and he's been amazing so far. So I definitely reached out to him and I've been working with him on a daily basis. And it has just had the biggest positive impact on my life and has really helped to get me out of the negative space that I was in, the dark space that I was in, and start to grow in a direction to do something that really mattered to me. And so what is that? Well, apparently it's Warrior Woman Wednesday. I grew up in a house with, an alcoholic, mentally abusive father. I know probably a lot of people listening right now might know me and my parents personally, and some of you might already know that, and some of you might be shocked to learn it. But from a very, very young age, I knew that the way my father, treated my mother wasn't right. And I knew that I didn't ever want to be treated that way. And so it was always a big deal to me not to be spoken down to by a man and to be treated well, listen, did I have some bad relationships in the past? Yeah. We all do. You live and you learn and you grow. But one thing I was always adamant about is I was never going to let someone talk to me in a way that was degrading. And that was important to me even into my adulthood now, and something that I'm definitely going to be stressing to my own kids who happen to be two boys. And unfortunately for my mom, she didn't get the help that she needed. She didn't leave the marriage when she should have. And so after 37 years of marriage and just years and years and years of mental abuse and dealing with a severely alcoholic husband, my father actually filed for divorce from my mother, which seemed like so crazy when she really should have been the one to leave him. But unfortunately, after 37 years of marriage and my mom experiencing some really, really dark times, it just changed her. And she's never, ever been the same since. And, it definitely sounds like a sad story, and it is. But it's been something that I've been struggling with personally, seeing my mom the way that she is now versus the way she was when I was a kid. It's just profoundly affected me and again, pushed me to sort of have this rough exterior sometimes. Sometimes people jokingly call me Lolita, which I consider to be kind of like my alter ego, like this evil bitch that's like, I'm not going to let anybody take advantage of me. And I know now that that's just this exterior front that I put up because of my dad. And so Warrior Woman is just women who I know in my own personal life and who I hope to know as I continue to do this and hopefully continue to grow it. I would love for other men and women to sponsor other warrior women. Tell me about them so I can get them on the podcast, because I'm all about getting these great messages out there. But the other thing is, for me, growing up in a household like that, I can't pretend like it didn't affect me also in a negative way, where sometimes I don't know my own worth or I get down and out on myself. And I know a lot of us probably do that. But for me, it was like reverting back to that, childhood and hearing the constant negativity, the constant bringing you down. And it definitely stays with you. And so I started seeing, mostly on social media, to tell you the truth, just girls who I know, whether I'm a good friend of theirs or an acquaintance or someone I met, in passing. And I'm like, man, she just looks like she's really got it together. She's got it going on. And yeah, social media paints this perfect picture for a lot of us. Let's be honest. The majority of people on social media are either posting A, all the amazing stuff, or B, all the shitty stuff. There's very rarely that full-on real life stuff happening. But these girls, these women who I'm kind of targeting, so to speak, you could tell that it was genuine. And there was something about them, there is something about them that was just impressive to me. And I will out and out tell you that in so many ways, I envy these women. And I realize that I'm trying to encompass what they have, what they're delivering. And it's not what they have from a material standpoint. It's the feeling that they seem to generate, the feelings that they seem to own, and doing good in the world somehow. And I really want to do that myself, but also get their message out, because I know that there's a lot of women out there who can relate to what these other women might be trying to do, but just don't know how to get it done. Or maybe you're looking for a different resource or a different outlet. And so that's what I'm hoping to bring with the Warrior Woman podcast, is just these great women who I personally feel some kind of a connection to, and am looking to become more aware of and get myself down that particular path, whatever it is. Because I want to bring that type of happiness and positivity into my own life and also have an impact in other people's. And I just feel like I have so much knowledge on so many different topics. I try to be as well-rounded as possible and not narrow-minded and open to different concepts and ideologies and things like that. So doing this is also a way for me to get more information for myself, but also bring it to other people. Because of course I can sit down and just always give you the facts, like, oh, if you need this, do this, or if you're looking for that, do that. But there's more behind it usually. There's usually a bigger story behind it. We all have probably been through something that maybe shook us or changed us, or seen something and decided we wanted to do something about it. And again, so that's kind of what Warrior Woman is, one of the big things that Warrior Woman is about. So it's a way for me to stretch my wings and get out there and do more self-care, even for myself. Stop worrying about everyone else. Take care of yourself first, and give back in a way that a lot of these women are, as you'll find the more we go along in these podcasts. But also just to show that literally anything is possible. And it's so cliche for me to say that. Believe me, I know how it probably sounds. But I'm realizing now more than ever, in the short time that I've made the decision to go for it and do this, Dan, who I've been working with, Dan Mason, told me, and Mastin Kipp has often said too, I think this might come from the creator of LinkedIn, I can't remember, but two things that they said that have really resonated with me. One is better to put something out than to have it be perfect. So in other words, better posted than perfect. And another one was, if you're not embarrassed by the first product that you release, then you waited too long to release it. And you know what? I really believe that. And if what I'm trying to go for is some kind of a real situation or a real message, then it's not going to be perfect. I'm going to be working through these as I go and learning as I go, and they're probably going to get better and better, but they're already great because they're real. So I am just so thankful that you've taken the time to listen to this particular episode. I'll be definitely diving a little bit more into my story, sharing more about myself, what my real missions and goals are as I progress with this Warrior Woman podcast. But I just really wanted to get this out there today, give you a little bit more of my background, and keep tuning in. I will keep bringing you amazing women, amazing stories, amazing causes, and amazing ideas. So thank you so much.